Summers. We're going to take some quick notes today on latitude and longitude and how to use that to find a location. So everybody's going to start with a paper that looks like this. We're going to take it, we're going to turn it sideways, and we're going to take the edges and we're going to fold them in so they do this. All right, they do this. All right, so you'll end up with two little doors just like so. On the outside, I want you to label this one latitude, and the other one is going to be longitude. So let's look at what each of these things are. So we're going to start with latitude first. I'm going to draw a great big circle on the outside. I'm going to take my pencil and I'm going to make a big line right across. I'm going to make it kind of bold. Okay, now I'm going to take some other lines and I'm going to do the same thing, but I'm going to go a little bit above it or a little bit below it. All right, note that these lines are parallel. They don't cross one another. All right, so let's take a closer look at latitude. What can we tell from it? Okay, so latitude, I'm going to write it again here. They are these imaginary lines. So you can't actually see them, but they're there. And they go east to west. That's what E to W means. All right, so they go across. So you're going to remember lat, flats. They're flats. Okay? Now, even though they go across, we measure them either degrees north or degrees south of the equator. The equator is the main line. Okay, so I'm going to write that here. That's the main line. That's the one that's in the very middle. Okay? So I'm going to redraw my circle here. I'm going to redraw my circle here, but this time I'm going to highlight the equator. I'm going to highlight that. The equator is 0 degrees, so it doesn't have a direction. If you're above the equator, so this way, this is north. So let's say this one, let's just estimate that would be 15 degrees north of the equator, 30 degrees north, 45, so on and so forth. The very top, okay, right up here at the poles, this is 90 degrees north. All right, so basically the bigger the number is, the farther you are from the equator. And it's the same thing in the other direction. The only thing that's different, this would be 15 degrees south of the equator because it's below it. It's to the south of it. So on and so forth. And down here at the very, very bottom, at the South Pole, is 90 degrees south. Now, the most important thing I need you to know about latitude, and again, you probably already know it. You probably already could tell me this. The bigger the latitude, the colder the temperature is. And again, that makes sense. You know the equator is really, really warm. And down here, far away from the equator, is really, really cold. That has to do with how much sunshine we get. Okay? So that's latitude. Longitude, I'm going to jump back here. I'm going to draw a circle again. But this time, I'm going to draw a line straight down the middle, like so. And then I'm going to have these curvy lines that meet at the ends. So it kind of looks like a beach ball. Kind of like that. All right. So longitude, these are lines that go from north to south. All right. They all meet at the poles, so at the North Pole and the South Pole. But they are measured degrees east or degrees west of the prime meridian. The prime meridian is the main line of longitude. Now that goes through London, it goes through England, parts of North Africa, the Iberian Peninsula, all the way down to Antarctica, and all the way up to the North Pole. Technically, any latitude could be the prime meridian. That's just the one that we picked. All right. So I'm going to draw a line here. All right. So there's my prime meridian. So I'm going to label this 0 degrees. Just like the equator, it doesn't have a direction because it's not to the east or the west. If you're on the right side of the prime meridian, okay, this is east. East is over here. So think like the Near East, the Middle East, the Far East. Those are like places in Asia. All right, so this would be like, let's say 20 degrees east. This would be 40 degrees east, so on and so forth. The other ones are going to be west. West is to the left. So this would be 20 degrees west, 40 degrees west, so on and so forth. Longitudes go from 0 degrees up to 180 degrees. So you can go 180 degrees east or 180 degrees west. And if you add that together, that's 360, and that makes sense because that's how many degrees there are in a circle. Okay? Now, let's look at how we're going to use this to find a place. So we're going to open our map. We're going to turn it sideways. All right? When we're looking to locate something on a map, you're going to report latitude first, longitude second. You always make sure to include the direction. So it's going to be north or south for the latitude, and then east or west for the longitude. So I'm going to highlight the equator, that's 0, and then I'm going to highlight the prime meridian, that is also 0. So we're going to pick a point on this map. Let's pick this point right here. Okay? The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to find the equator, and I'm going to see, am I going above it or below it? Because I go above it by 30 degrees. This point is 30 degrees north, so that's its latitude. Then I'm going to find the prime meridian. Am I going to the right or to the left? I'm going to the left, so that's west. And I'm going to see it goes 30, 60, 90. 90 degrees west. All right, let's try another one just for funsies. Let's try this one. So this is around Australia. Find the latitude first. Equator, I'm going below it, so that's to the south by 30 degrees. So this is 30 degrees south. Then find the prime meridian. Am I going to the left or to the right? I have to go to the right. 30, 60, 90, 120, 150. 150 degrees east. All right. Now, if you're somewhere, for example, here in the Indian Ocean, you may notice that's on the equator, If you're on the equator, you don't need a direction because you're not north or south. You're exactly in the middle. You would still look at the prime meridian and you would go over, so that means you're to the east of it, 60 degrees east.